15 billion miles from here, in a cold so complete that no sunlight has ever reached it, a machine the size of a small car is still whispering back to us. And that whisper grows fainter with every year that passes. The instruments still carrying that signal home run on only a few watts of power. The small light inside your refrigerator burns brighter than the machine that is, right now, quietly rewriting what we thought we knew about the universe. It was built before the home computer, before the internet, before most of the scientists reading its data tonight were even born. It was promised 5 years of life. It has given us almost 50. Its name is Voyager 1. I have spent my whole life studying the sky, and still nothing out there unsettles me the way this small, failing machine does, because of what it has begun sending home from a place we were never meant to stand. The people who read that data no longer reach for words like interesting or curious. They use words like baffling, astonishing, and the two hardest words a scientist will ever say aloud: we were wrong. So stay with me, because this is not only a story about a spacecraft. What Voyager found in the dark reaches all the way back across 15 billion miles and touches the survival of every living thing on this planet. And there is a moment coming, close now, that nothing built by human hands has ever reached before. Let me take you back to where it began. The 5th of September, 1977. A rocket climbs off a launch pad in Florida, carrying a spacecraft with a modest set of instructions. Fly past Jupiter. Fly past Saturn. Take a few photographs. Gather a few measurements. And then drift quietly into the dark and go silent. The engineers expected perhaps 5 years. A brief, elegant postcard from the outer planets. And then nothing. What happened instead is one of the most extraordinary things our species has ever done. And I don't think most people have ever been told how extraordinary it truly is. Voyager did not go quiet. In the spring of 1979, it swept past Jupiter and sent back the first close images of that vast striped world any human eye had ever seen. In late 1980, it passed Saturn, stealing a little of each planet's gravity as it went, flinging itself faster and farther with every encounter. By the end of the 1980s, it had traveled farther from Earth than anything humanity had ever made. And still, it kept transmitting. A thin thread of a signal stretched across a widening void, carried by hardware so old that modern engineers shake their heads and wonder how it is still alive at all. And in 1990, as the planets fell away behind it, the team did one last, almost tender thing. They turned its camera around, back toward the home it was leaving, and took a photograph. In that single image, the entire Earth, every war, every love, every person who has ever lived, is one pale blue dot, smaller than a speck of dust, adrift in a shaft of sunlight. That was Voyager's last look at us before it turned its face to the dark for good. And then, in 2012, 35 years after it left the ground, it did something that changed the entire meaning of the mission. It crossed the heliopause. Let me tell you what that word means, because it is one of the most important boundaries in all of creation, and almost no one outside of science has ever heard it. Our sun does more than give us light and warmth. It breathes, a constant wind of charged particles streaming outward in every direction, blowing a vast bubble around all of us. That bubble holds every planet, every moon, every comet, every ocean, every mountain, every person who has ever lived. Everything you have ever known sits inside it. The heliopause is the outer skin of that bubble, the exact place where the sun's wind finally runs out of breath and presses up against the space between the stars. It is, quite literally, the shoreline of our solar system. Everything within it is home. Everything beyond it is something else entirely. In 2012, Voyager 1 crossed that shoreline and kept going. Not as a metaphor, not as a technicality. It became the first thing our civilization has ever built to leave the solar system and enter the true space between the stars. And then it turned and began telling us what that place is like from the inside. And here's the first twist in the story. For decades, brilliant people had built careful models of what that space should be. Quiet, they said. Smooth. Thin and cold and still. A kind of empty waiting room between the stars, where nothing much ever happens. Voyager walked into that waiting room and found a storm. Its instruments picked up something no model had predicted. A faint, steady hum woven through the fabric of interstellar space itself. Not a single burst, not a glitch to be explained away. A continuous song in the plasma, year after year, stretching across hundreds of millions of miles of the dark. The space beyond our sun is not the still, empty void we had imagined. It is turbulent. It has structure and motion at every scale. It is, in a very real sense, alive with complexity. And we never knew, because in all of human history, we had never once placed an instrument inside it to listen. Now sit with that for a moment.
Our atlas with these.
Every map we ever drew of the universe beyond our sun was drawn from the inside, looking out, through telescopes and mathematics and hope. And the first machine we ever sent to check is quietly telling us those maps were missing something enormous. But this is the part where the story stops being distant and starts being personal. Because that same bubble, the one Voyager just left, is the shield that keeps you alive. The heliopause does not only mark a boundary, it defends one. It turns away the most violent radiation in the galaxy, the shrapnel of exploded stars racing in from deep space, and stops the worst of it from ever reaching the small blue world where life learned to breathe. And what Voyager is telling us is that the space pressing in against that shield from the outside is more turbulent, more restless, more energetic than any of our models ever allowed for. We do not yet know what that means for the shield over the long ages to come. But the fact that we now have to ask the question at all, that alone changes how safe we are entitled to feel. And then, out there in that dark, the machine nearly died. In 2023, after 46 years, Voyager began to babble. For 5 long months it kept transmitting, but what came back was gibberish, scrambled nonsense, a stream of corrupted code the engineers who had listened to the spacecraft their entire careers could no longer read. The signal was alive, but whatever it was trying to say had become unreadable. The cause, when they finally found it, was heartbreakingly small. A single chip of 1970s memory, no larger than a fingernail, had quietly worn out after half a century in the harshest place a human object has ever endured. No alarm, no warning. One tiny piece of the machine's mind had simply failed. On Earth, you fix a broken part by walking over and replacing it. But this part was 15 billion miles away, beyond the reach of any rocket that will fly in our lifetimes. The only tool the engineers had was a radio signal, and even light, the fastest thing there is, needs about 22 hours to cross that gulf in a single direction. Think about what that means. You send one careful instruction, then you wait 22 hours for it to arrive, then you wait 22 hours more for the answer to come home. Nearly 2 days of silence for every single question you ask a patient, wounded machine, knowing that one wrong word, sent once, could kill it forever. And still they did it. For months they worked out that the ruined code could not be repaired, but it could be moved. Piece by piece, they lifted the damaged instructions and rewrote them into healthy corners of the machine's failing memory, then stitched the whole mind back together across 15 billion miles of nothing. It was brain surgery, performed by radio, on a patient older than the surgeons. And it worked. Voyager stopped babbling, and it began, once more, to speak.
But I will not lie to you.
Because this channel is built on telling you the truth, even when the truth is hard. Voyager is dying now, and this time there is no surgery that can save it. The tiny nuclear heart that has powered it since 1977 fades a little more every year. One by one, the engineers have switched off its instruments, putting parts of the spacecraft to sleep to keep the rest alive just a little longer. Sometime in the 2030s, the last of that power will drain away, and the whisper we have followed for half a century will finally, permanently stop. And here is the moment I promised you, the one no civilization before ours has ever reached. Because when that voice goes silent, Voyager will not stop. It will not fall. It will not return. It will simply keep coasting outward, forever, carrying a piece of us into a darkness we will never follow it into. It will drift, cold and quiet, for tens of thousands of years. And then, roughly 40,000 years from now, it will pass within a whisper of a distant star called Gliese 445, closer to another sun than it has been to ours since the day it left. It will do this without us, long after the engineers are gone, long after their grandchildren are gone, and bolted to its side it carries a golden record, a single disc holding the sound of rain, a mother's kiss, a human heartbeat, greetings in 55 languages, and music from a species that looked up at the night and refused to look away. That record is built to last for 1 billion years or more. It will still be out there, still readable, long after our own sun has swollen and died and the Earth itself is gone. So think again about what this small machine truly is. We told it to last 5 years. Instead, it became the farthest, longest, loneliest reach our species has ever made, and the most human. Not a weapon, not a conquest. A message in a bottle, thrown into an ocean so vast we cannot picture its far shore, that says only this: we were here, we were curious, we were alive, and we did not want to be alone. That is what Voyager is still sending back. Not only data about a storm between the stars, but a mirror, held up at the very edge of everything, showing us the strangest and most beautiful thing in all of it. Us, reaching, while there was still time to reach. The whisper is fainter tonight than it was when this began. One day soon it will be gone, but the machine will still be out there in the dark, carrying our record and keeping our promise, long after the rest of us have fallen silent.